They call me king now. Do you believe it? No king. I'm such a king, I can't get a ballroom approved. It's pretty amazing, right? I'm a king. If I was a king, we'd be doing a lot more. I'm doing a lot, but I could be doing a lot more if I was a king.
I mean, the expectation was, what, 60,000 jobs, and it's 178? Wow.
Yeah, look, the job market bounced back in a big way in March, and that is good news, really blowing away expectations.
Next up with Tim Black.
This is no April Fool's joke. This is a disaster. All these numbers are a disaster for President Trump. I mean, let's just talk about inflation, which is the name of the game. Okay, highest disapprovals on inflation about this time in a presidency. Whenever you have Joe Biden and Jimmy Carter on the board and you're matching them or slightly exceeding them when it comes to inflation, you know it's bad. Look at this. 72% in our latest CNN poll say they disapprove of the president on inflation. Joe Biden average of polls at this point in his presidency, 68%. And Jimmy Carter, whose presidency, just like Joe Biden's, was absolutely wrecked by inflation, was at 66% about at this point in his presidency back in 1978. Donald Trump, even worse than they are. So you see it here, and the one word is, or phrase I might say is, oh my goodness gracious, what a disaster.
It just what's so interesting here is inflation was way higher.
Yes.
So they just, right now, voters don't like what the president is doing on it, even if it isn't as high as it was at these other times. What about gas prices?
What about gas prices, which of course is part of this inflation picture, only making this number climb ever higher? How about disapprove on gas prices? Okay, disapproval ratings on gas prices. Biden's worst number, his worst number in any poll I could find, was 72% disapprove of Joe Biden on gas prices. Donald Trump right now in our CNN poll, 76%. 76%. 3 in 4 Americans disapprove of the way that Donald Trump is handling gas prices. And again, the gas prices were higher during Biden, but the increase has been so dramatic. Under the last month, under Donald Trump, we're talking about an increase of about $1. It's the highest increase that we've seen since at least 1991 in terms of raw dollars. No wonder this number is so high. He is beating or doing even worse than Joe Biden was on gas prices, which, of course, was such a major issue.
So talk about his disapproval on the economy. Put it in historical perspective.
Okay, so you see the gas prices here. Disaster. You see the inflation here. Disaster. How about the economy? You know, you mentioned it was the worst in terms of the approval rating for Donald Trump in any poll we've conducted. How about highest disapprovals on the economy about this point in term 2? Look at this. These are the worst. In our poll, 69% disapproved of Donald Trump on the economy. For George W. Bush, it was 57% in terms of the average. Barack Obama, 56%. Donald Trump is crushing him on a metric you don't want to be crushing anybody on, which is disapproval ratings on the economy. He's double digits worse. I was looking at some other polling data, also above the 57 and 56%. The worst of all time at this point in term number 2. It's the economy dragging Trump down, being, of course, accelerated by inflation being so bad. And, of course, the gas prices just adding up. It's like a pancake tower, and you're just reaching the top. And this is not a tower you want to climb.
One of the things you deal with when you deal with economic sentiment is how people feel things are going to be. So what are the prediction markets saying about where they see inflation going?
Yeah, where does the Calcia prediction market say that we're going on inflation? Chance CPI year over year is above 4%.
Oh, wow.
In any month in 2026, 64%. That would be for the first time since 2023. So the inflation tower that we're going up, it seems like there are more steps on a stairway, certainly not to heaven, more like hell if you're the president of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, the White House certainly doesn't want the predictions to be right about this. That's clear. Harriet, and thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay. All right, not much here to say here. Just gotta point it out that it's not that the numbers are so bad under Trump. It's just that people are pissed off, and since he gets a lot of negative attention, and there's a lot of liberal media, like the number of liberal media outlets are able to funnel the noise a lot more effectively than under Biden. I mean, face it, liberals weren't not throwing Biden under the bus away. They're throwing Trump under the bus, and that's why the polls are so bad. Because there are a lot more ways in order to shit on Trump for the inflation. All right, so right now we're like 2% inflation under Trump. Under Biden was almost 5%. And you didn't hear people complain as much. It's what it is. You see the numbers. So it's not just me making it up. when people say that, hey, we got a problem in our media, it's very biased, things are not fair the way that it's allocated. When you hear that the conservatives are saying that stuff, here goes the point that proves it. How can Biden be twice as bad on inflation? It just happened. We're not going back to the 60s and 70s or even the 80s and 90s. I mean, last term, Trump is in his second year. It wasn't that long ago. If he'd tell me he was twice as bad, but the approval wasn't as bad, how could you disapprove less when it was actually a worse inflation? I tell you how. When you have people covering your ass on all types of corporate liberal media that are taking up for you and changing the conversation. That's what happened under Biden. Under Trump, it's the opposite. You can be doing half as bad as Biden and have numbers that are record-setting bad numbers because you got people that are focused on it, and that's all they're talking about. And then you'll have somebody say, Tim Black, why don't you critique Trump more? That's just because you're used to everybody doing it. You think that's what we got to do. Now, we can talk about the inflation. No one likes inflation, fam. But what I'm talking about is the media hypocrisy. And plus, throw a rock, you hit a black commentator who is anything except conservatives, who will be talking shit about Trump all day, all day, all day, all day. It's what they'll do all day. They'll sit there, watch to it. They wake up doing it in the morning and go to bed doing it. And it is pathetic. Gas prices. It has to be a truly stupid idea to go to war with Iran and knowing that people are going to connect that to gas prices. Like you're going into the midterms with a conflict in Iran, and now the gas price is going to get higher, and everybody's going to blame you, and they're going to blame Republicans. So not just on the ethical point of view. In fact, when I hear Democrats complaining about war in Iran, I get a little pissed because they didn't complain about all the other wars. There were some of us that were complaining about all the wars. There's some people that are anti-war. I respect those people because they don't care about what the administration is. They don't care who's in office. They think our wars are always self-serving and result in loss of life. And not to mention, just a way to make money. Well, we should mention it. I am mentioning it. Get what I'm saying? So I respect people that call it out no matter who's in office. And I continue to call out and support those people because I agree with you. Just because I don't rock with progressives on these topics doesn't mean I forgot all my ethics when it comes to them. I don't support wars that are unnecessary. They're for regime change or money or so people can put their friends in position to make more money, right? Or distractions, right? But my thing is, we got a bunch of hypocrites. Yeah, we got a lot of hypocrites in our media who are now talking about peace in Iran, who weren't talking about it in Afghanistan. They're not talking about it in Ukraine. They're not talking about it in the Sudan. They're not talking about it other places. They weren't even talking about it in Gaza. But now they got something to say. Now it's vocal because they can blame this on Trump. And that's the only thing. That's the only reason why. And when you see that happening, fam, it's hard not to be like, you know, when the hypocrisy is that obvious and people pretend not to see it, when it's that glaring. I mean, it's obvious. It's like a semi truck coming right for your forehead, Johnson. Are you asleep? How could you not see that semi truck? It's like sitting on the railroad tracks. You don't see the train coming? You can't hear it? It's right there, fam. So that's the issue I have with these big mouths, man. They sit on these podcasts, you know, like they sit on these podcasts. They'll talk shit. Then they'll call other people. We're going to get to it. They're calling other brothers and sisters Sambos for not supporting the other white guy. It don't make sense. We're going to get to that in a minute. Let me not get ahead of myself. But to me, it becomes very frustrating when you know a thing. You know what's going on. You see it. You have them dead to rights. You look at a segment like this, and you know, obviously, it's because of media bias. I mean, who actually knows? How would you actually know these things if it were not for the media? The media keep telling you Orange Man bad. And I'm not telling you that Orange Man is good, but I'm telling you that Orange Man bad, if you keep that up for 10 years about anybody, it's going to stick. Even when Biden was bad too, if not worse. I'd say Biden was worse because he created an unmanageable situation that definitely, positively threw Black Americans and all working class Americans under the bus. Then he backed the bus up over us. And then he told us we better get used to it. So whenever I got people talking, I got people critiquing, people putting out their little commentaries, but you can't say that. You can't look into the camera and call out Biden, and you said you want to act like, well, Biden's not in office. Yeah, but fam, we're not operating in a vacuum. It wasn't that long ago. You got all this smoke for Trump. Some of it is warranted, some of it is made up bullshit. And you now act like you're saving the whales, like you're doing some type of charity work. Now, there was bombs dropping. It's been bombs dropping and double tapping and unmitigated guard to go to war in all these countries for the last 20 years. And if you've been paying attention, that's what we've been doing. I think there was a study that showed like America's been at war constantly for like the last 25 years. It was a study that pointed this out. There are people that are born, I think it was millennials. We have been at war constantly since they were born. And now, in this second term of Trump, now people got something to say. It's like, come on, man. These people are just wound up toys for the Democratic Party.
Catch Tim Black live on the most dangerous show in America, Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Don't miss out on the real. Stay dangerous.